Good morning, welcome to Tech in the Car. I'm Oliver. This is a Polestar 2 and today I'm going to go for a drive. We're going to see what it's like in the real world, living with it. We're going to go through the traffic in London, try the pilot assist, and then because it's a nice day I fancy going to an English pub in the countryside. So we're going to take the car, we're going to go to the countryside, we're going to get a drink, and then I'm going to tell you what I think about it. So let's get on with our drive and see what it's like driving the car in traffic, because there will be traffic because, well, it's London, there's always traffic in London. And to see what the experience is like, because lots of people always ask me about the experience of driving an electric car. I get asked questions like, can you drive one every day? Is the range enough? Are electric cars too expensive? What is the best value electric car? How much does it cost to charge up an electric car? I get all these questions all the time, and they're really, really good questions. So I thought in this video, I would try and answer them for you. Let's talk a bit about this car first of all, the Polestar 2. So the Polestar 2 comes from Polestar, who make EVs exclusively, well, except for the hybrid Polestar 1. And Polestar used to be the performance division of Volvo, but when Volvo was acquired by Geely in 2010, they decided to branch Polestar out into their own EV company. And that's where we are now with the Polestar 2. There's also a Polestar 3 coming shortly, which is going to be announced in October 2022. This car has a dual motor long range, and the WLTP range is about 280 miles, but in my driving around, I've seen around 250 on average with range, and that's to be expected. Electric cars generally don't hit the WLTP range because that range is based on perfect conditions. And in everyday driving, when you have the air conditioning on, the music on, you're driving in start-stop traffic, or indeed driving fast on the motorway, you're going to lose energy and use energy that is going to affect your range. And one thing that Polestar has, which I actually really like on here, is there's a range assistant which shows you your current projected range, how much your instant consumption is, your driving style, your speed, climate control, and it allows you to put it into eco climate mode as well. Now, all of these things help you see where you are in terms of your range. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop and try and charge the car up. Although I've got tons of range and I'm not about to lose it. There's an Ioniq 5, by the way. Check out my video on that car on the channel. So even though I've got tons of range, I want to make sure that we're topped up, and I want to show you how it works. So I'm going to go to a Lidl, and Lidl have charging points in their supermarkets. Now, one of the biggest frustrations I have as a driver who's driven a lot of EVs is the charging infrastructure. I'm afraid to say it is not good enough. Fact. The truth is, there's one EV charger in Lidl, and yesterday I tried to stop and charge this car. I spent an hour waiting, and the one moment I got out of the car because I needed to use the washroom, I come back and somebody else has taken my space, and I've lost my position with one charging point. Now, this is a real genuine issue. Now, on motorway chargers, where you have at the services 3 or 4, and they're super fast charging, you know, 150, 350 kilowatts, then you're able to get that charging really, really fast. So even if there is a queue of cars, you'll get into your place and get on with it pretty quickly. But at slower charging points, like in supermarkets, like in the streets, it's not as easy. It takes longer and you have these frustrations. Now, I have no way of knowing if there is availability on this charging point. Although Google Maps does show me that there is an available point, it doesn't show a live update, something which Tesla do show, and hopefully other car companies will sort that out as well with the infrastructure. Now, fortunately, there is plenty of space here, and that's not a problem. So that means I can, thankfully, charge the car, which is great to see because it means I can demonstrate to you how it works. But what I've noticed is, what you generally see is, if you're trying to charge your car at a public charger in the evening, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, this is the kind of time when people have finished work and they're going to use the charging infrastructure. And so you're going to be waiting in a queue for it for potentially quite a while. Now, with an electric car, I think one of the main things to consider is, do you have charging at home? Because if you have charging at home, then every night you can top up your car and it's not a problem. But I think if you were relying on public charging infrastructure every day, you might get frustrated and you might find it annoying. That would just be my thoughts on that. Anyway, let's get this car charged and let's see how it works in the Polestar 2. So here we are, we're at the charging point, and one of the frustrating things about this particular kind of charging point is that it uses an app only. There's no contactless payment or no card payment. So I'm gonna have to download the app, which is another app, download it, set it up, set up payment methods, and then use the app to do it, which isn't great. Some of these, like I said, they do allow contactless payment, which is quicker, but one of the frustrations of being an electric car driver is you need to download those and you need to sort those out. So let's get on with that now. So let's have a quick look at this pod point. So you can see here, we've got our screen here, and you can see here, it's giving me some options. I don't know if you can see this because it's very sunny, but it says 43 AC, and it's got a cross, which means it's not working, it's broken. 2 CHAdeMO, 50 kilowatts, and there's an exclamation mark, which means that's broken. And then 50 kilowatts, 3, which is a CCS. A CCS is what everyone really uses nowadays, so which is here. So this one works, but these two are broken, which isn't great, is it? That one of these chargers is broken. So, you know, somebody should probably call that support number and tell them that this is not working on AN AMEX, because, you know, but this is again one of the problems. Charging infrastructure is left in this state where one charging point maybe works. Turns out in this case it's the one that everybody's going to use. Right, let's connect this up now. So let's open up the charging port down here. There we go, and you can see on the Polestar 2 we have the connector here, and then if you need the bottom half of the connector, you got that there as well. We don't need it here, or do we? Let's see. So DC, see, so we do. Okay, so we need to remove the bottom part here. So we remove the bottom part, plug this in here. It's gone yellow. Now I've trained this on the app, so it should start charging. And now it has started charging. So it's going to set up charging with the car, doing its thing. Let's go around and look at the car and see what the car says. So the car now shows it as charging, as you can see here. And it's got the charging information. It shows how many kilowatts, how many amps, how many volts, and the current range. I got all that information on here, so that's pretty simple to do. And then on the main screen here, we've got the information showing you the charging status in a graph, so you can see that. Now let's be honest, that was a bit of a faff, I'm not gonna lie. In this case I had to connect it to the car first and then press the button to start the charge. All I can say is that you do get used to it the more you do it, but we are charging now and it is doing its thing. So this car can do 0 to 80% in about 20 minutes. So we were at 57%. So we're gonna see how long it takes to get to 80%, and I'll report back then. So we've now charged this to 92%. 80% took about 20 minutes. In total it'd be 46 minutes. You probably can't see that because it's really bright. So let's stop it now. So I'm gonna stop it here on the screen. Charging's now stopped. It's gone yellow on here to let you know it's done. Wait, it's stopped, press the button, pull it out, put it back on here, put in the lower part back in, there we go, and close it, and it's charged. And then if we go back around here to the front, get in the car, you can see it now says charged level 92%. If we go in here, have a look at our projected range, you can see it's 220 miles of projected range now. So fantastic. Let's now go for a drive and see what it's like in the traffic of London. And in this scenario, both the lane assist and the pilot assist, which is what Polestar calls it, are working. We just had a bike come in front of me, so the car automatically detected and slowed down. And you can see here on the front here in the digital dashboard, everything is yellow to let us know that everything's working. And I can take my hand off the steering wheel. Shouldn't do this, this is naughty. But as you can see, it's steering very, very, very happily. No problem at all. without me putting any pressure on the steering wheel. It's working, it's safe, it's reliable. Even though we've got quite a turn in this tunnel here, it's able to turn all the way around without me doing anything. And yes, I've got my hands ready to touch the steering wheel any second. My feet are over the pedals, don't worry. But you can see how it's working, and it's now telling me hold the steering wheel. So this uses a torque-based system where any pressure on the wheel will automatically let it know that I'm holding the wheel. Some other cars, such as the latest Audis, work on a capacitive system like your smartphone, where you physically have to touch the steering wheel. Doesn't matter how much pressure you put on it, but it has to be your hand touching it for it to actually engage and let the car know that you're holding the steering wheel. So it's an interesting bit of technology how they're changing that. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's EU regulations, possibly. That seems like the only other reason, because adding capacitive sensors would seem to be a more expensive means of doing things than just leaving it as it was with the torque-based system, where any pressure at all does the job. And now the speed limit is increased to 40, so we're probably up to 40, and the car will happily drive like that. So we're making good progress. We've been into the centre of London. Now let's go out of London. Let's drive out of London and let's go to the countryside and let's go to a pub. Let's have a pub, let's have a drink in the pub and have a nice end of the day and tell you my thoughts and feelings about this, the Polestar 2, and what I think about it. And don't forget to watch my full review of this car and my video I did ages ago, 2 years ago, showing everything about this car as well, because we got a lot of content on this car on the channel. Anyway, onwards. Here I am at the pub. I'm gonna have a drink in a minute, but I've come with the Polestar 2 and I wanna let you know my thoughts on this car. So it's a really comfortable car to drive. In this trim with 408 horsepower, it's very fast. And I've done about 60 miles today so far, and I've still got about 150 miles of range left. So I've still got pretty good range left. And I charged it earlier from about 50 to 90 in about 40 minutes. If I charge it from 0 or 10% to 80%, it should take around 20 to 30 minutes. So that's no problem. The only issues I have are charging infrastructure, not being enough chargers. That is a big problem that we have, not enough chargers. So you have to wait for them or they're broken. This is a problem. So I really do think with electric cars, you want to charge them at home because then you don't have to worry about those things. But inside the car, very comfortable, very fast, very efficient. It's definitely got some attention. People look at it and ask me questions all about it. And I do really, really enjoy driving the Polestar 2. And in fact, I've done quite a few videos on the Polestar 2, one with all the different trims a few years ago on my channel when I first started. And there's a full review going into all of the details as well on my channel. So just click on the boxes up there. But this is a fantastically good car that I enjoy. What about the design? Well, you know, it looks kind of sporty, but also kind of boxy. It actually very much got the, I guess, what you would imagine to be the Volvo aesthetic from the past, in which they've done. And muscular cars are very much something which is eye-catching. And this car is definitely eye-catching. Some people love it, some people don't love it, but it's a good-looking car that's very distinctive and people recognize it, and I think that's a really good thing. So I'm gonna go and have that drink now. Please check out my other videos on the channel and let me know what you think of the Polestar 2 down below. Thank you very much.